Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but you're starting. And this week, science fiction literature broke the internet.
My name is Sean, and this podcast broke the internet.
This week, science fiction literature broke. God damn it! I didn't say
Gotta
my
say your
name.
name.
Fuck. Not good at this. Okay. And I'm Carter, and this week, science fiction literature broke the internet. Can I do that again?
Yes.
Shit. Ah.
Sorry to say, I haven't actually read anything else by him. He writes a lot of interconnected stories. So he often writes trilogies and quartologies and that kind of stuff, which is one of the reasons that I haven't, because I know that once I buy in, I'm going to have to read a series. But eventually, I think I will. He's written one series with Arthur C. Clarke, and he's written one series with Terry Pratchett, and that was very recent. I think it was like 2011 or 2012. And so I highly recommend the Manifold trilogy. I can't speak to his other stuff, but he's won a lot of awards. He's very well known. So,
All right. That was good. That was good. You might edit this out. You said that it had inspired you in some ways to do interrobang. Did you want to talk about that at all?
well, after I read it, because I hadn't heard the Fermi paradox before,
Mm-hmm.
and that idea just bounced around in my head for a really long time. And when I started working on The Arrival, I was the main point. God, I am going to edit this out, but I need to put this on a video somewhere. The main idea behind The Arrival, when I was just making it at first, and I had no idea what it was eventually going to be, was that in Minecraft you're alone,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no one else there.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic concept was, what if you're not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you watch the first episode of The Arrival, the Fermi paradox is on it.
Oh,
I put it in quotes
I didn't.
at the end of the episode.
Oh, I'd have to go back and look at that. That's interesting.
It was the jumping
Like
point.
Huh. Okay. Well, yeah, you can edit that out.
I
find
want
it
to talk
interesting.
about that on. I want to
Yeah.
put up a video where I basically explain my process behind The Arrival, NAMS, and Interrobang, and like
Yeah.
how
Now
it,
that they're done,
how
you
it
can talk
became an autobiographical thing,
yeah.
even though that is not what I intended it to be.
Well, you can either do a video, or if you want, we could like do a little interview.
Maybe we should. would
For
probably
this
be
or
better.
for something. But like, if you want to like have someone else that you can talk to, or you could do it with Quinn. But you might want to think about having someone like
Quinn doesn't watch it.
whatever. She doesn't watch that shit. She's listening to like what is it?
Yeah, dude.
Hey Dude, the 1990s
Hey Dude.
dance show. Okay.
Salute your
Um,
shits.
Do you listen to a lot of? Well, I'll save that for when we talk about podcasts.
The answer is no.
Okay, I listen to a lot.
Not as much as I wish I could. It's just time. And you can't really be doing a lot of other things while you're doing it.
No.
I can't listen to them at work. Quinn can.
I can't listen to them and program at the same time. So it's very rare that I'll. And if I'm not programming, then I'm probably reading something. And if I'm not reading something, then, I'm in a meeting, so I don't really listen to it at work. But in my commute, I listen to them.
Right, and my commute is less than 10 minutes.
Right, and I walk to and from work now, which is about 50 minutes both ways. So that's a lot of time for podcasts.
Yeah.
And then when I clean around the house, and when I do blah, 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 whatever, when I go to the store, we'll talk about it. I have a ridiculous number of podcasts that I'm subscribed to, and I get through all of them, and I'm working my way through 3 back catalogs of 3 other podcasts, but it's because I got my commute. Thanks to that good old commute.
Do you have any idea what year it was that people really started like making livings off of having podcast networks?
You know what? If you want to talk about that, I do have some. I do kind of know a little bit about that. So,
because I didn't observe it as it was happening. I've observed it while listening to back catalogs.
yeah. So like there's been kind of like three historical eras of podcasts, like podcasts. Uh, like when the iPod first came out, there was like a first era, like right when the iTunes podcast catalog came out. There were probably a few hundred to a few thousand podcasts back then, and no one was making any money off of them. And that kind of lasted until like 2006 or so. And then a second big era was like between like 2007 and 2011 or so. And that's when like a lot of the podcasts that have huge back catalogs started coming out, was like 2007. And that's when like NBC and all sorts of like major producers were like, we should have a podcast about blah. You know, we're going to make a podcast about this. And that's when like This American Life started having their podcast be on the internet. That's when like some like tentpole podcasts that have been out forever like started. And then about around 2010, 2011 is when like ad-supported podcasts started to become a really big thing. Okay. And like networks of podcasts. So like the 5x5 network got founded in like 2009, 2010.
Okay.
Like 2010, 2010, around 09, 10, that's when Kevin Smith founded his network. Yes. There's like another Apple thing that came out in 2010, but they call them Netcasts or whatever. But that's when that started happening. And now I think we're in a fourth era where there's like the networks are kind of starting to dissolve a little more, and you're starting to see lots more independent podcasts, but like people who have a podcast who they make their living from a podcast, like an individual person or a group of people, and they make their living from a podcast. And it's all like, it's because of all these, it's crazy. Like if you listen to as many podcasts as I do, you hear these people all over again. And it's like, there are a few people who are just supporting all of podcasting. It's like Squarespace, Hover, there's a bunch of podcasts that are being supported by this service that delivers snacks.
Okay.
Like Dan Savage's podcast is being supported by that, and like a tech podcast I'm listening is being supported by that. It's just like crazy. But like Squarespace, they sponsor every podcast on the internet. It seems like it's like there would be no more podcasts if there was no Squarespace.
Yeah, you're right.
They sponsor everything. So. Okay, I'm actually glad I said that because that's not very interesting to actually record. I'll go first, and then you'll finish with Comedy Bang Bang? Yep. Or do you want to go with Comedy Bang? Okay. Cool. I'm Carter, and this podcast broke the internet. I promise I will not need more than one take for that. Got tripped up on literature.
I didn't see it worth mentioning, but one of the recurring jokes on every episode is that the last section of the podcast, which is just plugs for like each of the comedians, is the most popular segment. And every time when he gets to it, he's like, and it's time for our most popular segment, the plug section. I know that everyone skips to the end of the podcast to hear the plug section because they all want to hear. And there's a writer for Parks and Rec named Travis Whittles. And each time he's been on, he expresses how he doesn't understand whether Scott is joking or not. That's one of the moments where he's like, is this a bit? Is it really the most popular? And Scott just commits to it. And he's like, yeah, everyone loves the plug section. They always skip to the end to hear the plugs. And Travis is like, I don't know if you're messing with me right now.
See, I like that. I think I would understand the TV show more after maybe I'll go back and watch the first episode or first couple episodes again, because it's like, oh, I get this now.
And I had no idea really who Paul F. Tompkins was. I recognized him from the VH1 various shows he was on, Best Week Ever and stuff, but I didn't really know who he was. And now that I've listened to all of these episodes that feature him, he's the most featured guest. I just adore him. He's so funny. I watched part of his stand-up and I was like, nah, it's a different thing. But as an improv actor, so funny. I was bored by Beck last night on SNL, so I was flipping to AMC where they were showing Pulp Fiction.
On AMC? Nah.
Heavily edited.
Yeah, exactly.
They did the sequence where Vince goes to the house with the drugs, and the entire conversation that the drug dealer has with him, the video was cropped to a portion of the screen that you could see nothing.
I mean, like at that
You
point,
could see like Vincent Vega's arm because they couldn't show whatever it was that he was doing, which I'm pretty sure was just like holding drugs.
Yeah. I don't even. Okay, whatever. Why even show it at that point?
I don't know.
That just makes no sense. That is senseless. That is senseless. Okay. Well, I'm subscribed to Comedy Bang Bang. You should check out Night Vale. This was good sharing.
Yeah, this was effective.
Yes, it was.
Super effective.
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually glad I said that because that's not very interesting to actually record.